So as requested, here is a full gear list in my pack that I brought with me on my section hike. I'm going to go through everything, how I packed it up, what I would change, because there's a lot, after I've been back now and used some of this gear. As this sits, and this number means nothing to me at this point because, as I said, I'm going to change a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of improvements I need to make, but this is at least the initial foundational setup that I used, and maybe this will, if you guys have any ideas too, please, I'm happy to get some comments on some options and things you would change. I did weigh this before I ended up putting on some little carabiners here and flip-flops. Of course, this was totally necessary. It was a last-minute thing that I picked up. I didn't get to weigh it with these on here, but this pack comes in without the little carabiners here, no food, no poles, and no water, of course. I let the water bottles out too, but without food, it comes in at 8.9 pounds. Thought that was a pretty good base weight, and as I will explain and go further through this, so there were some mistakes that were made that I wish I would have brought with me, even adding some weight to it. But just off the bat, this is the Gossamer Gear 36 liter Kumo 36. This is their I think one of the better design packs weight-wise. This has been awesome, super comfortable. I was able to get everything in here pretty easily. No problems other than a little critter that had gotten in my pack one night. With this pack at all, durability is awesome. It is a frameless pack. It does have a little, I use this as my seating pad. You'll see some other critter bites here on the bottom of it, but this is my sitting pad in the back that uses as kind of a back support, but it is frameless. Love this pack. Can't say enough about it. I did trim, and I'm going to use the word trim lightly, because it's kind of a universal fit. Took some of the belt loop excess off, and I kind of cut it and trimmed it. Had some help with that. Not a good sewer at all. So on the outside, though, on the right side, I would usually carry. This is my my down jacket that I had. I was taking this on and off through the morning and doing this in October. It was cold in the morning, so I would sometimes start with this. I ended up just leaving it on the side pocket, and I would sometimes kind of clip it to that carabiner just to make sure it was tight in there. But this is the down jacket. I would kind of cinch this together, and like I said, went through this quite a bit, so I ended up just leaving it on the side of the pack instead of inside. I carried two 1 liter smart water bottles on the side. They fit in here pretty well. I had to cinch them, but I mean, just to make sure they were tight, but that's perfect. Just the fact that I could fit two in here was really a plus, and one of the reasons I wanted to buy this this bag is because it could hold two of these together. On the front, like I said, this changed at the last minute, but I ended up from sandals, flip-flops. This is going to change for me. I think I'm going to go with, and I've seen Crocs, but if anybody else has something that's lighter than Crocs or an idea for something like this, I don't want to stick, at night I would wear some wool socks, and I would have to obviously stick my toes through this this little nylon, but I need to change this. I don't want to keep doing that. I think I'm going to go with something similar to Crocs, but I want it to be kind of lightweight because these are a little bit heavy. Cheap Walmart, $5 maybe. I knew I was going to beat them up, so I would leave these on the outside of the pack to get the sand off of them and dry as I was getting up in the morning and putting on my actual shoes. But that was kind of a last-minute decision. Something I'm definitely going to change, though, I think. Something I don't really like too much every night. Oh yeah, in the front, I really didn't have too much in here. I didn't even carry too much in here. I had my phone, which is an iPhone 10 that I used, and I also carried a little kind of it's a light load towel, but just something for a sweat rag. I usually wear a hat on trail, but I did have some, just a towel on hand with me. On the hip belts themselves, they were able to, this is able to fit, it's really tight, but an iPhone 10 with an OtterBox case, but I would put, bars or snacks on this side if I was going to carry anything for at least the beginning of the early snack or something in the day, or after lunch I would carry you know, an energy chew bar kind of thing, or one of those Gatorade energy bar blocks, I think is what the ones from Cliff are called, Cliff Bar. But yeah, it didn't utilize as much space as I probably should have with these. I think I'm going to change that as well. Going in the top, first, in the front, another big change here for weight savings. Like a fool, I ended up thinking that frog togs were going to be the way that I would go well, we weren't supposed to get a ton of rain, but the little rain that we had, I went with this. Again, cheap, lightweight. These are the problems with that. It was a horrible decision. We got in some rain, and it ruined that day completely. So these are going in the trash. I am going to spend the money on a actual rain jacket, a dedicated rain jacket. It may be a little bit heavier, totally worth the wait. These got ripped up and destroyed. They're going right in the trash. That was a terrible decision I will never make again, especially with rain. It was able to cover the pack though, but I'm never going to go back with that. Cook kit, you've seen that. I actually switched, and I was able to still use the same pot, but I have a video on my alcohol stove cook kit. I ended up switching to, just for this trip, a BRS canister stove. I decided to go with that just because I didn't want to deal with the alcohol stove having issues in colder temperatures, but I ended up picking one of these up. These are awesome. They're super lightweight, cheap. The new version Toaks 550 does fit a, I think it's 110 gram. Yeah, 110 gram canister stove setup. I can kind of set this in there and do something quick. The reason I went with this over the alcohol stove just for this, and I'll use the alcohol stove in the future, that's my favorite absolute ever. I'm never going to go to this as like a day hike kind of thing, but the canister stoves are a lot quicker, and I wanted to go with that just to cook something really quick in the morning for coffee. We tried to get some early morning starts, and that just no reliability issues, wanted to go with that. So I ended up just using that for this trip. The funny thing was the stainless steel variant of this with fuel, or not of this, the alcohol stove was the same weight as the titanium BRS canister stove. So I actually didn't change any weight there. I think actually this was 1 gram lighter when I weighed this on the scale, which is funny to me. I thought it was going to be heavier, and the whole reason I went with alcohol to begin with. But I'm going to be going back to that. I wanted this to be a little more reliable. So on the outside, of course, I carried stuff I was grabbing all the time. I've got a Sawyer Mini. I only went with this because it's cheaper than the Squeeze. I didn't mind the wait time of filtering the water. Everyone complains about that. I don't care. This was easier, took up less real estate in my pack, and was lighter, and more importantly, almost to me, was cheaper. Now this changed for me. I actually bought this at Mountain Crossings. I had a Platypus 2 liter and ended up switching to an Evernew 1.5. This is awesome. I wish I would have started with this in the beginning. The Sawyer fits on here perfectly. Threading's correct. The cap is connected, which was awesome. I couldn't stand that the Platypus had that cap that you could lose. I mean, I think you could replace it with another like smart water cap, but I'm not too sure on that. But it's connected so that I don't have to fumble around with this with just going through a little stream and having to lose the cap. It cinches itself together once you put it back and kind of fold it up, which is kind of nice as well. Half a liter less. It was a little bit more water filling up for me because, like I said, I'm carrying 2 1-liter smart waters, but just the ease of use of this was kind of worth it to me. I wanted to use something like this a lot, so I picked something that would work a lot easier. So in the front, last thing, I had my spoon in the front too. I have a Toaks titanium spoon that I guess I don't really need this little stuff sack, but I ended up just to keep it kind of clean for me. It's a Toaks titanium long spoon. Love it. Used it forever. It's gonna last forever. Pretty lightweight as well. Of course, the last thing I have is the newer version of the Deuce of Spades, but you know what that's for. In the top, this is a top fill bag. I have first my shelter, which is, and I got this from a friend. It was brand new, awesome price, is the Nemo Veda 1P. I should probably do a video on that in the future, but it's a little bit older design. I got it at a really good price. This is not the bag that Nemo provides that it comes in. It's another stuff sack. The one Nemo provides is like, it's got clips on it and it's kind of bulky. It does compress pretty well, but it's a little bit heavier, and I wanted something that was easier to take in and out of. There's buckles on the Nemo one. I don't know why they had that there. I'm pretty sure this 10 is not available anymore, but this was awesome. This is like the Halo gear piece that I have. I love this tent. It's quick. It sets up with 2 of my trekking poles. You've seen that video with my black diamonds. Those are the poles I used to set it up. This was awesome. I am going to make some changes. There are 2, and like I said, I should probably make a video of this. There are 2 extra tie-outs. It takes 6 tent stakes, which I'm going to change. I'm going to add 2 more just in case. I brought 6 with me, but you can add tie-outs to give a little bit more head or leg room. I have the Tokes Titanium V-stakes, and like I said, I'm going to in the future add some of those. There wasn't an issue with space. I'm about 6 foot tall, and I didn't have any problems with that, but I did want to just to give a little bit more room in there. I think I'm going to add another one of these tent stakes and some cording and see if I can at least provide that with the kit, just to give a little bit more space. It wasn't an issue, but something I'll probably change. I used a Gossamer Polycryo ground sheet. That's the one I'm going to be using with this tent. Kind of cut the size. So put that in a Ziploc bag and call that a day. I have been sleeping on, this is also kind of used to support a little bit of, to create the frameless pack, framed a little bit, the Thermarest Neo Air X Lite. These are expensive, awesome, but totally worth it. I ended up staying in a shelter, or a hostel one night, and I used this as my mattress in the hostel, just as some extra comfort. So not only on trail, I was using this inside of a bunk bed in the Mountain Crossings hostel. So I love this. It's insulated. It's super lightweight. It's a little bit. That's not hard to air up. It takes a few puffs. It's kind of hard to air this up in a hurry, but no complaints with this. These are awesome. But I used that and folded up kind of on the back of the pad or backpack just to make it somewhat more supportive on the frame. So. I have, next is the Z-Packs flare bag you've seen, my food bag kit, that's what I'm using. There's a little bit of stuff in here left. This has been cool, pretty standard. I don't know if this is necessary for everybody. It's super lightweight, it's made of Cuban. These are pretty durable from what I've seen. I don't really, this started to drive me crazy, but the Velcro thing on here, I just see this as like becoming a failing point at some point with this. It just kind of drove me insane, but so far, at least when you get them new, they work pretty well, and I don't have any issues with it at all. There's no problems with this, and I can't say enough about Z-Packs. They actually, I didn't know if I was going to get this bag made in time for this trip, and I mean, God, thumbs up to Z-Packs. I emailed them and said, hey, is there a way that you could give me an ETA on this? It takes them a little bit of time to make it, but they ended up expediting the shipping for me for free, and I got it well in time for my trip. Like I said, I've done a video on it, but Z-Packs is an awesome company. I can't say enough about that. They really helped me relieve some stress on my trip with making sure I got this in time. So support them with everything. But this was pretty useful. I had all my food in here. I ended up using a little bit less because I had to resupply at Mountain Crossings, and I didn't necessarily need 6 days of food, but it all fit in here, so no issues with that. Most of my food, I actually still have some in here, but I re-put everything in Ziploc bags, the freezer quart bags. I had a couple meals that didn't end up using, and of course basic tortillas, stuff like that. I bought a little bit more, Justin's peanut butter, all that kind of stuff. Fit in there perfect. The electronics bag I used, like I said, I had the iPhone 10. I just used a couple things on the trip, and I really didn't even need to use it that much, but I always carry these Anchor, I think this is a 33,000 milliamp power bank. I think either 30 or 33,000. Quick charge, these are awesome. A little heavy, but all I carry with them is an iPhone lightning cable and a micro USB to charge it. And you'll see a lot of these kind of little ditty bags. There's a good buddy of mine. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll put in the description. He's been making me these Cuban bags. These have been just awesome to put my electronic stuff in, and it's what my cook is in. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll put in the bottom description. But he's an awesome buddy to help me with kind of making these Cuban bags for me and getting some custom stuff done. But he's got a great YouTube channel that's got a lot of info on it, stuff that you should definitely check out. But I also carry a little wall adapter for charging the Anchor if I ever need to. I really didn't even need to. I charged it up at the Mountain Crossings hostel, but 30,000 milliamps is enough to charge your phone every night for days. But that's the pretty much the electronics bag. I have most of the photos and stuff I'm using on my phone anyways. Didn't really find it too necessary to bring anything else with that. But that kind of sits on top or in front of the Z-Packs bear bag kit. And this is also going to change too. Ditty bag that I use pretty much for day-to-day stuff. Inside here I have, this is kind of the pack that you'd never really want to open. I've got some repair tape in here. These are some aqua tabs, water purification if my filter breaks or is not working. I've got some fire starter stuff. This is an extra cap for the bladders that I've been using, just in case I lose one. I've got a really old, way too heavy, I think this is a Bissell Bonza? An old pocket knife my grandfather used. I can definitely change this and make this a little bit lighter, but thought this was kind of cool. I can take some of this stuff out here. I've got some repair tape and stuff for my thermarest pad and my tent itself. Some of this stuff I don't need. Like I said, I can definitely change the pocket knife, but I just kind of want to carry my grandfather's knife with me. Fire starter stuff. Every morning, though, I have this is kind of what I use daily. That's kind of obvious in itself. This is my toothpaste. These are tablets you can chew that are dissolvable when you chew them. I use the Z-Packs. I only use half of it, but their toothbrush that they come in their little pouch. I've got a little tube of shampoo. I used a couple times to like wash my face, wash my hands, stuff like that. And then I've got some, Tylenol, stuff like that. There's some antacids in here just in case you get upset stomach with some of the food. But that's pretty much it. I think this can be a little more creature comfort oriented, but I didn't use too much of this stuff other than obviously the toothbrush every day. And I don't even know that I used Body Glide once on this. So, but that's something that's definitely going to stay there. And then, of course, I've got some wet wipes that are flushable, hypoallergenic, sensitive, biodegradable, of course, for when that happens and you have to use it. I don't carry toilet paper with me. I use just those wipes. This is a trash compactor bag I use as my liner. And inside, I have, and this is something I'm going to change again as well. This is a Ledge Scorpion 45 degree sleeping bag. It's a bag I used every night. It's 45 degrees, and in Georgia in October, there were nights that I was seeing temperatures in the 30s and almost one in the 20s. So, gonna change this. My initial plan was to keep this super light in terms of the bag. I like the mummy bags. I'm not gonna go to a quilt, but I need to go to a 20 degree bag. Here's why. I planned on using the 800 down jacket every single night with this bag. And I've got some long johns in here too and some wool socks. It's really what I wore every night to sleep. But I'm gonna kind of throw these in here together. I'm gonna switch to a 20-degree bag. I sleep kind of warm anyways, and sleeping with this 800 down jacket got really, really frustrating some nights when it was like 40, 45, where completely unnecessary, didn't need any of it, and it was too hot. Then when it got a little bit colder, this was almost not enough. So I'm going to eliminate that. I'm going to add the weight with this, keep the 800 down jacket, of course, and then I'm thinking about going to a different mummy bag for sure. I'm going to just end up spending the money on this and really hoping that I can kind of avoid that uncomfortable temperature sleeping situation that I was running into a lot. So, but that's kind of what I was really all carrying. I have a... This can change too. Just some, I never really even wore these, but just some Walmart gloves. I don't know that I'll stick with these in the future. I might spend some money on some nicer ones that are a little bit lighter. These are just cheap. I didn't even use them, so it was pretty warm without that. The pack though, that's pretty much it. What I wore during the day. I carried a little, again, Cuban bag full of, I didn't actually carry a wallet, but this is got my driver's license in there, my insurance card. I had a cash stash that I used with a little Ziploc bag just to make sure that stayed dry with some of the cash that I would have, just in case. And this was pretty much on my person the entire time, whether in my pocket, because I don't like carrying anything in my pockets at all when I hike. This was light enough that I didn't even feel it, but I had it on my person the entire time. Or I'd leave it when I slept at night inside my 800 down jacket, but didn't carry a wallet. This worked perfect. Nothing expensive here, but I went to Walmart and grabbed everything synthetic I could. This is the shirts style that I actually wear at home all the time, but I hike in. They are a Russell Fresh Force 360 dry power, just one of their sports shirts. I think this was $8 for one of these shirts. These are super cheap. These are really nice because they breathe really well. They don't stay wet very quick at all. They don't stink either. That's the kind of nice thing about them that I thought was, I didn't really know for sure until I wore, but these are awesome, super cheap, nothing expensive here. I like hiking in t-shirts, so I was happy to have something that was cheap that worked so well. And going with that theme, I stuck with the same branding, Russell Performance, whatever it is, synthetic underwear. I didn't end up going with anything expensive. I think this was $5 or $6 as well for a pair, but these were awesome. Same thing. Didn't get any issues in staying wet or anything like that at all. My shorts that I hike in are, because I don't do pants very much, Jerry Performance, kind of khaki styled. These are from Costco. These are Costco Performance pants. They come with like a plastic belt loop. These are pretty lightweight. They fit really well for the sizing that they are, and they're cheap. They're $10 or $15 a piece. So I have a few of these. These are awesome. These dry very quickly, synthetic material, all that kind of stuff. They work awesome. So I won't change anything there. That's been, I mean, if going into colder hiking, I might change to pants, stuff like that, but those have worked perfectly well. For shoes, I, of course, as you probably have seen in previous videos, Lone Peak 4s. These were awesome. I don't know for sure on durability, and I knew that going in. I'm going to do a review probably in some of my gear that I've used in the past. For a long term, I don't have enough miles on this to like give you a full review on how this has been, but for a shoe for me, but overall this was pretty awesome. This saved me a lot of headache. I didn't get one blister, didn't have any foot pain. I mean, even on the 40-mile stretch we did, these are definitely amazing shoes. A little bit of stuff I changed, but again, I want to wait a little bit before I do a full review on these. These got beat up a little bit on the first part of the AT, a lot of rocks. So awesome shoe, no foot problems. getting a little bit of wear and tear on them though. That's premature that I don't know if I like too much. These are kind of coming apart a tad, but as far as, you know, a hiking running shoe, trail runner, these have been amazing. I don't use gaiters at all. I can't stand them for some reason, so I don't have that on here, but just as a shoe itself, these have been pretty great. I picked up some ankle-high Darn Toughs. These are the ones that I use pretty much every day. No issues. These are awesome. The saving grace for my feet, though, was a recommendation I had for some of these Gingis. These are, I think, for like marathon bikers or marathon runners. If you haven't ever worn one of these before, these kind of fit on every toe individually as like its own little sock. But for if you're having issues with like, you know, toenails bumping into toes and causing you know, that searing pain you get when you hit a rock and your toenail starts digging into your actual toe itself, these really, really, really support that so well. I was really happy. I hadn't tried these on for an extended period of time. Super weird at first, but man, do these save my feet. Or I would really say sock liners in general. These have been awesome. My feet actually stayed cooler than normal, and these really saved a lot of pain, I think, for me. Because normally I always get that toenail pain in toes kind of thing, you know, bashing your toes on rocks and stuff. But this saved my life on this trip. I will never go back. These will always be in my gear list and with my shoes especially with the ultras with the Darn Toughs. These, can't say enough about that. These were awesome. But I think that's it. There's a lot I'm gonna change. There's a lot I feel like I have to change just to prepare myself a little bit better for some rain situations. I'm definitely going to change the weight, and by that I mean increase it, because this was just, there are a lot of perfect gears pieces that fit perfectly with this kit that I used, that made total sense. The shoes, the ditty bags, everything worked fine, but yeah, I'm going to add some weight for some creature comforts for sure, especially a rain jacket. Sleeping bag needs to be tweaked a little bit, but I mean, really for a summer, maybe early fall or late spring hike, this worked out pretty well. It was very, very lightweight other than food. I mean, the food weighed more than my bag did, so made any type of hike extremely comfortable. I think on the Black Diamond poles, I'm going to change the handle grips, but you know, really they've been amazing. They took a beating and have really, really held up great. I know they can last a lot longer than, you know, the 40-mile stretch we did, but just a breakdown of what I've got. Moving forward, there's going to be some changes. I'm going to do some more in-depth reviews on some of these once I get more miles on them. My shoes and the down jacket and maybe the bag, sleeping bag and pad, I don't know, but we'll see. But that's what I brought. We are back. We are recovering a little bit and good to go. But I'll be changing some stuff and let you guys know as I get to it.